Hey, what's good, people? This is the Option Podcast. This is episode 216, and I'm finally sure about the number. I've always been wrong about the number. I'm right about the number. Because you know why? Because this guy, Nico Lagan, man, he's like, you
What's
still didn't
going
get
on,
my name
brother?
right. Buckle up, people. The episode starts right now. What's good, Nico?
Man, life is interesting. Let's say that life is very, very interesting. Not
Yeah.
only with
Mhm.
what's going on in politics, what's going on in the world, but yeah, I've been fasting for 48 hours now. I'm
Oh,
ready to eat soon. I'm gonna go hit the
nice.
gym after this, and second time in a row. Yeah, I haven't ate since Sunday, and it's gonna be my second workout today. So yeah,
And dude, you weigh 215 pounds.
no, 231 right now.
I was trying to be conservative.
No,
Jesus.
no, no, no. I'm east. I was
No.
231 pounds yesterday when I was at the gym, which because you're fasting and all I've been doing is drinking water over the past 2 days. So I'm probably about 220 right now. I probably lost 8 to 10 pounds within the span of 2 days.
hmm Let me tell you something. When I'm out of shape, or when I look like I'm out of shape, or when I feel I'm out of shape, I'm actually old enough and I'm researched enough to know exactly why, right?
Mhm.
It's like, man, I feel like tired or whatever. I had midnight munchies, right? I got up and started eating 1 o'clock in the morning, right? And you wonder why, right? So the cool thing about you and me, and there's so many cool things. First of all, for volleyball people, if you're expecting the volleyball episode, this is a skit for y'all. Okay, this is this is about politics, getting pissed off. This is about provoking thought. He leans a little bit more right. I'm more of a centrist lefty. Um, so we're definitely gonna get into that. But what I wanted to talk to you about, and you and I, the most valuable lesson we learned, and it's an old school concept. Doing your own research, it was called reading. Doing your own research is called reading. So you were a vegan before we came on the podcast. You were a vegan for a little bit. Let's talk maybe 3 minutes before we get into this fun subject matter of they went for my head. It's a nice head, the nicest head you've
Yeah,
ever seen. um,
100%. I do have a very sexy head. Thank you. Thank you for mentioning it.
they
But
came for his
you know what?
ears. They came for his
Yeah,
ears.
yeah, man, we're talking about that before.
Yeah, let's
Since the last time we spoke, like I was a vegetarian for I think 8 years. Then I became a vegan for four. So it's
Wow.
something around 12 to 13 years. I did not eat meat until about 8 months ago. I'm 42 years old now.
Okay.
And when I turned 40, I'm like, I'm going to do a battery test. Because I used to fight, right? I've always been in shape. I've always been super careful about how I treat my body. But I'm like, I'm 40 years old. I'm going to check what my levels are, like really do a battery test, all the blood stuff that you can think of, and
LDL, HDL, yeah.
everything's great, everything A1, everything was good, but testosterone was low. I was in the low 500. When a guy like me that works out 6 times a week the way I do, the way I eat, I should have been more around 1100.
It should have shot through the roof.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, 100%. Because if you work out the way I do, you normally, because the more you work out to a certain extent, but if you work out a lot, you tend to boost your testosterone level by about 25 to 33%, give or take. So I should have been. So if that means that I had the testosterone level of a fat sitting on his couch watching Netflix. Because if you remove the 25 to 33%, I'm in the 300 range, 350. So I'm super low.
You must have been like,
So
I'm
I
wasting all
started.
my time. I wasted all my time. I'm that dude on the couch.
And yeah, exactly. And yet I'm 200 pounds with a six pack, right?
Right.
And I started doing TRT because that's what the doctor was saying. You're a certain age, do TRT. And then
Yep.
next thing you know, my balls are shrinking. I'm feeling great, but my balls are shrinking. And I'm like, what the fuck? I
Yeah.
contact the doctor again. He's like, oh, yeah, you can take this other injection that you're going to have to inject twice a week. So I was injecting 3 times for 6 months, right? Did not like it. That was about a year and a half ago.
hmm
Did not like it. I stopped doing it. But I'm like, man, I gotta start doing. I gotta do something else. And
Yeah.
then there was a craving for meat that came about a year ago. I just craved red meat. I wanted to suck blood. Like, as bad as this sounds, this is exactly like I felt I need meat. So I let it go. I let it go. I controlled it. I controlled it. And about 8 months ago, I'm like, screw this shit. I'm starting to eat meat again.
Okay.
And I had been intermittent fasting for probably 6 years. I've been doing it for about 7 years now. So I was eating 2 meals a day, right? Fasting for about 16, 18 hours. Then what I decided to do, I started fasting once, like just 1 meal a day. So I've been doing 1 meal a day for about 8 months now. And I started eating meat. I'm like we were saying before, I went from 200 pounds to about 200. I'm 230, give or take right now, natural. Like I don't take anything. I barely eat compared to most people. Now I'm on my second day fast, and I'm probably, like I said, probably in the low 220s right now because of all the water weight you lose by doing a water fast. But
Right.
brother, I have not been able to build muscle this much since my 20s. And I'm 42 years old, man. I go to the gym and I turn heads, right? People are like, because the gym that I'm at right now, everybody's on the juice. Everybody's juicing. It doesn't matter that they're 20 or they're 40, they're all on the juice, you can tell. And then I walk around those guys, I move like I'm 200 pounds because I used to fight. So I want to keep that type of body shape. But it's feel amazing, man. It's amazing how we're being lied to when it comes to the vegan diet. It is not good for you.
Well,
Like for years, I had diarrhea problem because I was eating, because it's almost impossible to eat a lot of protein without eating a lot of carbs around it. Because if you want to eat lean protein, that means you need to start eating those processed meat that are made into a laboratory, right?
how
Because
was
there's
your
no
how
natural.
what was your when you were vegan? What was your iron level, and or were you taking iron tablets? Because
100%. Yeah,
anemia is one of
100%.
the symptoms, right? Like I know
Yep,
cold
100%.
cold spinach is actually a good source of iron. I know, and I also know that
Yep.
when you cook spinach, it loses its nutritional value, right? So I know a lot of people, or vegans or whatever, or vegetarians, who eat in salads, and that's where they get their source of iron. So I totally get that. Were you taking iron supplements?
Yep, 100%. I was
Yeah,
taking iron supplement. I was taking
which
B12. I was
messes with your
taking.
poop, right?
Exactly. I literally had diarrhea or very soft poop for about 4 years.
Right.
Ever since I turned, like, no matter what I tried,
Uh-huh.
my body never enjoyed the diet, but I was doing it for the animals.
Right.
And then about, like I said, about 8 months ago, I completely changed my diet from, it's pretty funny actually, because I went from not eating meat at all to basically a carnivore diet. I eat
Yeah.
once a day, and bro, I eat three-quarters of a chicken
And
every
how's your
time I
energy
eat,
level?
or I eat insane,
It's
absolutely
it's sh- it's
insane.
shooting through the roof right now. I'm trying to tell these people. I'm trying to tell some of my friends. I was at Aspen and my guy was like, "Oh, you're neurologically addicted to meat. Did you know high LDL causes cancer?" And I'm just like, "What are you talking about? You're Did you see?" The first thing I asked was, "Did you see the study?" And he's like,
Hmm.
"No, but this doctor said that." And I'm like, "Okay, so now you have two
Exactly.
choices. You have to do your own research, right? Or if the research is too high octane, you defer to someone you trust, right? Now, deferring to someone you trust is risque because if they're wrong, you're wrong. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So, and we're not going to get into those whole studies. I like to talk about the LDL and how, like a lot of those studies, they never even measured the LDL. So these guys from Harvard came to the conclusion about LDLs or whatever. And if you actually delve into the study, not clinical analysis, but statistical analysis, which is within
Hmm.
our human wheelhouse if we're not doctors, right? Uh, um, they never measured the LDL. So that's just one thing, but I'm jumping off and on and on. I'm going in and out of that faster than Kevin Kline, that movie Kevin Kline, in and out.
But
Three,
you're right, though.
yeah,
You're absolutely right, and I can tell you, I've tried every single diet that's
they
out
never
there.
tested the
I've
LDL.
been, but I've tried every single diet that's out there that you can think of, and I didn't try it for a week. I'm an
Hmm.
extremely consistent and dedicated person when it comes to his diet, and I can tell you that for me, a high level of meat with a high level of carbs is what works best for me. I don't respond well to fats unless the fats are eggs,
Right.
because I've never ate as much as eggs that I do now. I probably eat 6 to 10 eggs a day,
Okay.
and
It's the easiest thing in the world
butter,
to make, right? Just scramble it,
butter,
just throw it on
butter.
yeah, put some
I
butter.
cook everything in butter. and it's
Were you
insane.
listening to my podcast with Dr. Bart Kane?
No,
Was that what
I
happened?
try, bro. I just try it. I'm somebody that experiments all the time, and I can tell I've been
Was that
in the
Joe
gym for
Rogan
20 years.
inspired?
No,
It was for me.
I if not having meat in my diet was causing me problems, how
Right.
about adding meat to it? And then over the past 8 months, I've been playing and adding more fats, reducing my content of meat. Like I've been playing with everything that I eat and see what works, but I've always responded extremely well to carbs. I'm
Right.
somebody that fuels on carbs. I don't respond well to fats. I
Right.
tend to store it right away. But for the longest time, I wasn't eating any animal byproducts, so there was no butter whatsoever.
Well,
So now that I can experiment with butter I respond extremely well to.
right.
So
I'd like to unpack three things you said, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but
yeah,
I wanted to
no man.
one, for you to be a vegan for 4 years is a near miracle because if you look at the percentages, like I think 76% of people who gone vegan quit the ideology, right? And
Mhm.
86% of the 76% did so because of catastrophic health changes.
Mhm.
And the average, I mean, there are some people who will find a way they're vegans for life. They sun worship and it works for them. And I say good for them. Be on supplements, find your way, find your happiness, right?
Mhm.
But the average person that decides to go on that is like 2 years. And you went, and I have a friend named Kenny that did it for 3, and I'm just like, okay, he's strong will, and I'm like, you did it for 4, and maybe not a hard stretch because you were already a vegetarian. So, which leads me to my second fact. I have a lot of opinions, but they generate from things that I have accepted as fact. Statistically, there are more animals that are killed to make
Yep.
vegetables than animals killed for meat consumption. At least meat consumers are eating what we're killing. The other animals are getting killed so they don't eat the vegetables. So quantitatively, statistically, there are more animals that die to make vegetables. So, um, and the third thing was, and this is just my opinion. Do your own research and coming from a biased place for my audience listening, please do not throw away the burger because of the sins of the bun. Take a
Yeah.
second look at it. Go ahead, Nico.
Well, what I was going to say, and this is the thing for most vegans out there, because like I said, I was in it for a very long time, and not only that, but I created a lot of content. I had about 20,000 followers on my Instagram account as a vegan. I
Right.
completely changed. Like I got rid of the account, and the account is still there, but I was creating a lot of content, and I spoke. Like I've over the past 4 years, I probably recorded 400 or 500 episodes
Hmm.
of various podcasts that were mine, right?
Right.
And one of them was a vegan podcast, and I ran probably 100 episodes where I talked to professionals around the world.
Right.
And you know what? It works for some people and it doesn't work for some people. You need to know what your body is. But the point in the matter is that every single person that I was speaking to were doing it for the animals. They were doing it because they did not want to have animals mistreated in the food system. And this is where the problem is. And I still have the same problem today. If you look at regular meat, if you look at the type of life that those animals have, it
Right.
is not okay the way that they're treated.
Right.
They are literally put in tiny cages. Like if you think about chickens, for example, there are in small, super small spaces on top of each other. They grow legs so big that they can't even fucking walk. Same
factory
thing for
factory
cows.
farming's
But
insane.
the thing is that mentality has not gone away. I
Right.
only eat bio food. I only eat food that was free range. I pay a lot more for my food than I
Right.
used to just because I want to know where that food comes from. Not only from a perspective of steroids, of antibiotic, and all the crap that they put in regular meat, but I also do not want to encourage the way animals are treated. That being said, I don't have a problem with hunting. I do not have a problem with killing animals because we are a predator.
Right.
And at the end of the day, this is a fact. You can debate all you want. We're omnivores and we will eat whatever the we can put our hands on.
Yep.
And if I react well to meat, guess what? I'm going to eat meat. But I will do my best so that those animals are not mistreated while they're alive.
I would also suggest all of these people are are in no position to lecture you how you eat your meat. Okay, you have
No, of
somebody
course not.
that wants you to eat bugs, but of course he's going to eat filet mignon, right? You got people that are telling you to turn off your gas stove, right? But the person telling you not to use your gas stove is flying over your problems in a private jet. One trip on
100%.
a private jet is equivalent to like 53 cars, right? But for health purposes, for YouTube purposes, please follow the guidelines of the CDC and the WHO because their advice is what is going to save your life. And everything this man just said to me is bull. It's serious. Serious. No,
But you
but
have to test it out for yourself. At the end of the day, I understand why people are vegan. I understand why people are vegetarians. I understand why people are carnivores. I get it. I get it. I fully get it.
and I
But at
love,
the end of the day,
yeah,
you know what I
I
like?
love me
And
some
here's
vegan pasta. I had vegan pasta at Carmine's because
yeah,
Carmine's is a restaurant. Sorry to interrupt, but Carmine's is a restaurant where
yeah.
you have to order for all four people. So it's a family style restaurant. So my boy Kenny
Sure.
at the time was a vegan, and this is Carmine's and the Tropicana Casino Hotel in New Jersey, not the one in New York. And I'm a carnivore. My boy Sean Ladig, New Orleans, workout. He's like a Brazilian jiu-jitsu. I think he's belted up a little bit, but he's like you. He's king cut carnivore. Wendy Jones, her and all four of her kids, they order meat from a place. I forgot what it's called. So you have three carnivores have sharing vegan pasta for the sake of a vegan. So I'm gonna tease vegans and I'm gonna have fun and I'm gonna say that, okay, guys, that's an excuse to be a snob. But at the end of the day, there is a mutual respect. And
Mhm.
and the mutual respect is the foundation of this podcast because I think you and I are going to have a conversation about politics. We're going to have a conversation about whatever, and just being able to come from a civil place. So that was just an example. And if your thought was to this, keep it, please. But I wanted to let everybody know I was at a table with three carnivores and a vegan at a restaurant where you have to order for four, and the three of us had some vegan like shell pasta, and it was terrific. So vegans, kudos to you for your creativity because that pasta was off the page.
And I agree with you. There's some great food out there, but at the end of the day, what works best for you? And I know my body extremely well. There's a
Amen.
reason why I look the way I do at my age, right? Because I will treat my body with the respect that it deserves, and I know
Mm,
what works. And I have so many injuries. I had so many surgeries that I know if I'm
right.
doing something that's hurting everywhere, I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm doing something wrong. I need to figure it out.
You guys want
So,
good reading material? There's a book called How Rheumatoid Arthritis Saved My Life. It was written by a
mm,
guy named Phil Escott. Phil Escott came on the podcast. I met him through Bart
he's
K.
a carnivore.
Yeah.
The guy's a carnivore now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
excellent.
this
Makes sense.
carnivore diet and the things that were supplement to that carnivore diet basically
Yeah,
got rid of his rheumatoid arthritis. So basically, he was
100%. That and
265.
fasting.
He was barrel body bottom. You know what I'm talking about, that description, right? Just kind of like
Yep.
a skinny fat guy, which is just fat. Had to walk with a cane. Had muscle stiffness, had joint pain, had rheumatoid arthritis. And when he changed his diet, he went from getting rid of the cane to walking to
Hmm.
running to playing the
Yep.
drums again because he was in the band and then being a drummer requires a certain amount of stamina. And when he went to his doctor said what you're doing right now is dangerous. You need to go back on the slew of medications that he prescribed him. And he shook the doctor's hand and said, and I might have told you the story before, but he shook the doctor's hand and said, I guess
This.
I guess it's a secret.
He
No,
said this.
no, but the politically correct is
Okay.
thank you for helping me. But really, he's like,
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
this girl around town with the one I love,
Yeah.
and it's like you. So
But
and
what I was going
but
to tell
before
you,
he
though, I'm sorry
left,
to
no, but
cut you off.
before he
Yeah.
left,
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
said, have you ever seen a case like mine before? And the doctor said, no. This is a doctor.
Hmm.
These are the people you want you to trust. And the guy said,
Yep.
I play the drums and I've seen it 6 times. And it was like his proud through line before he left. So go ahead, Nico.
Yo, when I had my blood retested after 6 months. Like they just wanted to see if the cycle was working of TRT.
Mm-hmm.
When they retested me, I was on a 4-day fast. I was on my fourth day fast. I
Wow.
was at 1500.
Good
I
Lord.
had tripled my amount of the guy. Technically, the goal is to do about 1,000, like between 900 and 1,100 is where I should be sitting. But I was at 1,450, just under 1,500. So within the span of 6 months, I tripled my amount of testosterone. I was on TRT, but if you look at the literature, the fasting will double the amount of testosterone over time. So I can regulate the amount of testosterone that I produce just by fasting. And that was before I started eating meat again. Now that when it's been a year, so soon, I will go redo another test to see where my testosterone levels are right now, because I am fasting 22 hours a day. Plus, most of the food that I eat is meat. So I'm very curious to see, with the amount of muscle mass that I'm adding at my age and how my joints are feeling, how my whole body is feeling, brother, my testosterone must be through the roof, and that is through diet alone.
Yeah, it really is. And I'm actually happy. And like you said, your quality of life, right, is better. Almost everyone I talk to, I have a friend, Torrin Jeffries. He's kind of
The
like
brain.
this mid-level,
The
kind of like
brain.
he's like this double-A volleyball player, and he actually did an entire tournament fasting, which contradicts everything that we as athletes learn. You know, we're like, dude, you got to eat 5 times a day. You got to carb load the night before. You got to, have bananas or whatever, and this and that, and it's just very, very, very strange to see someone do that. I still, if I ever played a tournament again, I'm 54. I don't play tournaments. I might play some games, but I don't think, even now, I'm like, man, okay, good for you. But, like you said, it worked for him. And there is a level of inner happiness. And I'm glad that you cured your testosterone issue with using supplements as a last resort, right? Because in our society, supplements and medications is a first resort, right? And everyone's telling you to trust these people, but yeah, I don't want to get into the whole conversation about there's no profit in the cure. I mean, I don't want to go there. We're
But
gonna
it's true.
we're gonna be
It's
talking
still
about
true.
it. Yeah, we're gonna be talking about enough gangster this in this episode. So, oh man, so we had some subjects we wanted to hammer, and I'm just honestly, I'll keep clicking on your thing, but I'm just trying to find my mouse. My mouse has disappeared on my screen, so there it is. Found it. Wow, did that just disappear? All right, so there's my mouse again, and I'm trying to find that on my screen. So actually, let's just jump into Candace Owens. She got suspended. Her account suspended.
Yep.
She got her account
Because of
suspended.
Kanye West. Because of Kanye West said something about the Jews/Zionists, that they were in control of Hollywood.
Right.
Yep.
Now,
But you know what? The worst part is that I wasn't able to see the video, because when I got up in the morning, which I do around 3 o'clock in the morning, I read my Bible, and then I jump on the news, because I talk about the news every day, right? So I spent at least an hour or two looking at the news. I saw that, started looking for the video. It was already down. So nobody really, unless you saw it live or you were one of the first person to see it when it first got posted, it's nowhere. I cannot find what said, but she posted the emails that she got from YouTube when they banned her, right?
Right.
And it's supposedly something that Kanye West said, which,
this was a while ago. This wasn't even recent, though.
No, it was a brand new episode. It was brand new episode.
Okay.
What I find interesting is this, though. Kanye West has been saying this for a long time, but what I find interesting is that I can find videos right now on YouTube that are from Free Palestine protesters saying, from the river to the sea. They're literally calling for the extermination of Jews on YouTube.
You could find that on YouTube?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You can find that on YouTube. Oh my God.
You can literally go on YouTube right now and write "from the river to the sea," enter. You'll have a slew of videos that come up.
They just passed they're trying to pass legislation that being anti-Israel is anti-Semitism. So I don't even know how something like that would even survive on YouTube.
Because most people don't understand what it means. Because most people, but hold on, you got to be careful. If you look at YouTube, which is the only platform that I've never been able to grow, right? Because my message does not align with the message of the platform. The people that are responsible for telling me that I'm a racist, they do not like my message, but they like the message of the Free Palestine. And I'm not here to say that the Free Palestine is right or it's wrong. What I like to point out is the irony and the hypocrisy between the two, because by what I saw from from what Kanye West was saying, is he's saying that Hollywood is in control of, that the Jews are in control of Hollywood. It's hard to disagree with that, because it is true. Most of the people that own the big studios are Jewish.
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't mean it's evil or not. The fact that they're Jewish doesn't make Hollywood evil.
No.
Even though that I believe that Hollywood is evil because they're woke and they're Marxists. But the fact that they're Jews does not make them Marxist.
It's weird.
You know what
because,
I'm saying?
Yeah, and I'm sorry, I meant to get your clock started on that, because that was a great 60-second thing. So actually, if you want to go after me, because you have a lot more to say, I'm going to go 60 seconds for myself. All right. So we're talking about Candace, right? All right.
You're supposed to start the timer, though.
So, yeah, you got it? You see it? All right. So, listen, in regards to Candace Owens, I disagree with a lot of her things. I disagree with her assertion that white supremacy is not on her top 100 list. The whole notion that she's got 99 problems, but white supremacy is not one, is kind of asinine, asa 10 and asa 12. And maybe, given where she lives and her surroundings, maybe she has the right to say that. But I want to be very, very clear that she's not. A lot of right-leaning people use her as this black person that's supposed to be the spokesperson for black people everywhere. And with that being said, you should not cancel someone because they disagree with you. You should. Free speech is the foundation of what our American values are. And if you start calling something like hateful speech or misinformation, at some point they're going to have a governing body that's going to decide what's misinformation and decide what's hate speech. And that government body is full of unelected people that I'm telling you, it's a slippery slope, because right now you think this is just happening to Republicans. No, this is happening from people who are a left of the left. They're called progressives, activists, socialists. They got caught up in the mix, because this isn't just Republicans, because they've been trying to cancel Republicans forever. So this might be a head fake for something else. But I'll land with that. 60 seconds. Go, baby.
What's interesting about what you said is the fact that a lot of wokeism and everybody that's woke is left, but not everybody that's left is woke, right? Like you, I don't consider you woke. No. You are a leftist, but you're not woke. Let me start by saying that. Yep. Now, where I'm going with this is that a lot of the people that are canceling others or censoring others are woke, and they're censoring the right. This is a fact, and even what's his name, Facebook guy, Meta guy, came out to say that Harris and Biden has asked them to censor people like me, which he did. He agreed. But the point is that what I find interesting is a lot of the woke people don't realize that right now censorship works for them because the politicians are backing them up. But what happens if Trump becomes president? And I'm not saying he would do that, but what happens if those censorship laws are in place and then you have a guy like Trump that comes into power? Now they're going to be complaining about censorship because they will no longer agree with what they agree with, and they're the one that are going to get censored. Right. This is why free speech is so important, and this is why I will always back free speech. I don't care that you're a self-proclaimed Nazi. I will always fight for your right to say dumb shit.
Oh, we fight for
I want to know who those people are. I don't want to drive them underground. I want to know who those people are. I want them to feel so safe in saying it that they're going to say it right on their platform day in and day out.
Yeah, this way you know who you want to associate yourself with or not associate yourself with. Yep. 100%, I'm like, that guy said it good, because that's someone that's not coming to my house, okay? You know? No, but
that's my thing.
This is
There's nothing I want to hear everything, and I'm reading a great book right now. This is what I'm trying to go check what the title is so I don't destroy it. But the book is The Indispensable Right by Jonathan Turley. Bro, jeez, that guy's brilliant.
Kind of mind-blowing.
Absolutely brilliant. But he says it himself that even from the get-go, even John Adams actually put restrictions on the first.
Think I lost you.
First Amendment when he's one of the person that actually voted for. That's one of the. like it's interesting because he's basically saying that from the get-go, even John Adams, which is one of your founding fathers, has put restrictions on free speech from the get-go. So it's nothing new. It's always been going on, and it's always from the person that's in power that will
Well,
try to put censorship. And now we call it hate speech, we call it misinformation, we call it fake news. But the point in the matter is that we're always looking for ways to censor people that we don't agree with, when free speech is not about protecting your feelings. It's about protecting the speech that you do not agree with.
right.
This
Well,
is what free speech is
well,
all
this
about.
is well. The Republicans are learning this because this is a 20-year project from them, right? Because when after 9/11, when they wanted, they were well, it was when it comes to going war. I'm not going to blame the Republicans. That's always going to be bipartisan. They're going to have a bill, and they're like, "Let's go!" Right? Hillary Clinton voted yes. Dick Cheney perpetuated this, and he made a pile of money, and George Bush was like, "Are you sure?" And they're like, "Yeah, we're sure." So. But if you remember, this is a 20-year project because back in the day, the progressives and the Democrats were the voice of opposition to this war, and they were the ones that were silenced. Jesse Ventura had a contract, had a 3.5 or 4 year contract with MSNBC, and when he spoke out against this war, they shelved him, and he also had a no compete clause in his contract, so he wasn't allowed to say it anywhere else. I believe Phil Donahue. I mean, and so this is a 20-year project where my friends are like, "Oh, you're a Republican because you're about saying whatever you want, free speech," and I'm like, "That's what Democrats used to be." I tell my friends we're all old enough to remember that's what you call an old school liberal. Those that used to be the
Your
party.
classical liberal
But
is
that
the
used
term.
right. That
Your
used to be the
classical
party of
liberal.
anti-war and free
Uh-huh.
speech, which, by the way,
Yep.
even now remains my two most important tenets. As a Gulf War vet, I don't want us in any of these regime-changing wars. I just don't want. I don't want a handful of people disagreeing and having 1,000 people die for their disagreements. There's a show for that. It's called Game of Thrones. Okay, you got a bunch of people with white hair in their heads that think that she deserves to be queen, and all of you people should go to war and die for this chick, right? Or this guy who looks like Legalos, a vegan Legalos, right? So, yeah. So I'm anti-war, but I'm also free speech because we should have the right to argue about it. We should have the right to talk about it. And this is where I think that it's a slippery slope. And I know, and they're doing it to Republicans because as long as they do it to Republicans and it's done so publicly, they can keep the opposition war going where their ratings and everyone continues to make money. Because the people you're not hearing about, Revolutionary Blackout Network got their YouTube channel suspended. Kim Iverson, spoke out against. Now, these are people who they're progressive, or Kim Iverson's what we call politically homeless, right? She's not left or right. She's NPP, no party preference. So, and I didn't like it because Candace Owens had points. Like Kanye West talking about, I'm about to go DEFCON 3. People don't know DEFCON 3 is a defensive posture, right? And also to say that Jewish people run Hollywood is no more or less racist or bigoted than saying rap is dominated by black people.
It's still a fact. That doesn't make it anti-Semite.
No.
And saying, like, I believe that Hollywood spiritually is completely evil.
Right.
With the type of stuff they basically praise Satan day in, day out, and they have no shame anymore to show it.
Right.
But I'm not saying that Jewish are satanic.
No.
But they are the one controlling, they are the one making most of the movies out there.
And you know what? Let me tell you something. Pretty good movies, right? Pretty good screenwriting, pretty good scripts, pretty good plays. I'm a theater performance major. I have all of my plays. I have about 1,068 plays in my basement. And they all got Jewish last names. Weinstein, Simon, right?
Cohen's.
This is not anti-Semitic, but this is a moral hierarchy thing. When I say that Jewish writers are freaking awesome, they're awesome. So I mean, I don't think that Candace meant it as a compliment because she's always had her issues with Judeo-Christianity. Her ideology leads to like this personal bias, but just because you don't like her doesn't mean she doesn't have a point. And this is the nature of me inviting you to this podcast. We have to
So
stop.
you're saying on camera you don't like me then? Okay, cool.
Man, I
I
can't
appreciate it, bro.
stand you, man. Man, you kiss my.
Yeah, agreed.
In fact, if I was over there right now, I'd run for my life because you just told me you got 231 pounds.
Yeah, brother.
And you ain't
And
got 2 ounces. Yo, you got right now. You got muscles in places. I don't have places. Look at this. Look at that. Look at that little
yeah,
puny arm. You see that?
you're a skinny guy. You're a skinny guy. My calves are bigger than that,
I
bro.
know.
My
I thought you
but
said your
going
cats
back,
are. You said calves.
no, I used to have cats, but they got stolen somehow. I think they're getting barbecued somewhere. Um, it's a joke. I don't like
No,
cats.
that's the next topic. Not cats and dogs. No, the debate. The debate is the next topic.
Yeah,
But
but
go ahead.
just to say with Candace, so there's a lot of things that she says I agree with. There's a lot of things that she says I don't agree with. But one of the things that people don't like about her is not necessarily what she says, but it's how she says it, because
Right.
she is abrasive. Like she can rub people the wrong way, but that doesn't mean she deserves to get canceled. That doesn't mean she deserves to be censored. Because
Right.
again, there's a lot of things that she says. I'm like, you know what? You're absolutely right. That's what the facts say.
We
But
in this
I can
country.
see she's like an Andrew Tate. To me, Candace Owens is on the same level as an Andrew Tate.
Yeah.
You either really love her or you don't.
Right.
And you don't necessarily hate her because she's wrong. You hate her because you don't like what she's saying, the way she says things.
And
You know,
the
I,
rationalization is they're saying what she's saying might cause violence, which we both agree is absolutely ridiculous.
I was in LA about a month ago I was on Jubilee's Media's Common Ground. Do you know that show?
Nope.
Massive, massive platform, but all to say that I was there as a conservative against six others. I had one conservative person with me against six extremely liberal, and we were talking about left versus right. I can't say anything because I'm not supposed to, but all to say that unfortunately, the vast majority of people are being led by their emotions. And this is the big problematic, is that the people that are responsible for the meta, the people that are responsible for Google, are very leftist. And instead of listening to conversations that they don't agree with and just taking it for what it is, just to, you know what, okay, I don't like the person, no problem. I'll take the personality and I'll take it apart and I'll put it aside. But that doesn't debunk what they're saying. That doesn't mean that what they're saying is wrong. You might not like the way they share their information. This is one of the main reasons a lot of people don't like Trump. It's not because of what he says, but the way he says it. It's the personality that people don't like. And it's unfortunate that we live in a world right now where you have to like everything about somebody in order to agree with. Yet I post enough content to tell you that I can go back 6 months from now and say, you know what, Nick, you were wrong. Shut the that was so my mind has changed from myself 3 months ago, 6 months ago. So I don't agree with myself 100%. How the can I agree with somebody else 100%? And making that my premise to know, oh, can I listen to them? Oh, I don't like them, I don't listen to them. Are you kidding me? That means that you cannot listen to anybody on the planet, because there's no way you're going to agree with everybody, with everything that one person says, and you have to like them in order to listen to them. That's just insane. That's just absolutely insane.
And I think that's you're we're not stumbling. We're headed full steam ahead to the broader point. I think our psychology has changed where you are married to who you voted for. All right. For example,
Yep.
I voted for Barack Obama twice, right?
Sure.
And in my lifetime, and I'm 54 years old, he's my favorite president in my lifetime for general reasons. Like when the rest of the world looked across the other side of the world in the United States, they're like, who's the president? That guy? Cool. All right. And that's not someone that's going to turn up the temperature. Okay, he's not insane. He's smart. He's well spoken, right? So there's that, right? Now, am I a big fan of him saying, well, we tortured some folks, right? You know, the way he said it in the nicest way he could, right? There was still enhanced interrogation going on during his watch, something that he promised he would get rid of. I have an issue with that, right? Um, he wanted to regulate Wall Street, but hired the same people who got us into the mess in 2008, right? It was led us kind of right back where we started from. So he ended up simping for Wall Street. Now, um, uh, not to mention the drone strikes, right? One terrorist, 30 people, it's worth it, right? I disagree with those things. And I have people on the right that keep saying, that's your boy. You voted for him. You voted for that. And no, you didn't. And I think people need to wake up. Just because my wife was like, I was telling my wife, and sorry, I need to count down because at some point, there's a reason why I even have a countdown because I go too long. Let's count down. All right, 60 seconds and I'm done. I was talking to my wife and I was like, look, I have friends that are Republican, Democrat, and we have differences and that should be settled in the ballot box. And my wife was like, there's some things that go beyond the ballot box like values. And I said, if you're going to talk about values, you got to leave that separate from politics because you got Trump talking about he's ordained by God and all the Christians like him, but the guy cheats on his wife 6 ways to Sunday, right? You got Obama who's supposed to be the president of peace and he's drone bombing people. And I'm just trying to send a message to everybody as my clock is counting down. You make a decision to vote for a person because of issues where you feel strongest about. You're not married to everything that they do right or wrong. Because if you do that, you're going to find yourself making excuses for them, right? Like with Bill Clinton, when he got his sucked on by Monica Lewinsky, I had friends telling me, well, he didn't have sexual relations because he didn't have sex. Head's not cheating. And I'm like, that's good to know. Because if your husband decides he wants a BJ by someone, to you, that's all good, right? That's what you're saying. That's not sex, right? So I think the less we are married to someone we vote for as a collective whole, the less we have to make excuses and sound like we're full.
But at the same time, it's wrong to think that way because we should be voting for somebody that we agree with morally. And unfortunately,
sorry, you're on the clock.
But you know what? Unfortunately, that's no longer the case. We literally right now, the election is going to be fought on abortion. This is the hottest topic right now. Is abortion. This is what Kamala Harris keeps on talking because she'll never answer a question about how she'll make the economy that she destroyed better. So this is what the narrative is right now. The biggest fight between the two parties right now is abortion rights. That's why you see Trump backpedaling a bit, going back on IVF and going back on abortion rights. But this is what we've come down to. We don't even vote for people's morality anymore. We vote for one single topic. We're really voting for one single thing, and it's going to come down to what they call women's health.
Right. When you vote for morality, then you are tied to the person that you voted for and their morals. And when they fail, you feel like you fail because you're tied to them because you decided it was a moral arena and not a political arena, right? Bill Clinton, again, nobody wants anyone to cheat on their wife. But when Bill Clinton got his by Monica Lewinsky, the first thing the Democrats said was, what does that have to do with his job performance, right? They were talking about a guy that had values, but threw values out of the window when he got caught, right? George Bush basically.
You got to be careful. I think you got to be careful because I look at this from a Christian's perspective. I am reminded every single day that I read my Bible that I'm not perfect, that I'll never be perfect, and there was only one man that ever walked this earth that was perfect. So every day I'm reminded, I'm being told that I'm not perfect. And you know what? There are two things that are sure for the rest of my life is one day I'm going to die and I'm going to up again. I don't know when that's going to be, but those are the two certainties that I have in my life. I'm going to die and I'm going to up again. So anybody that you look at has skeletons in their closet. There's something that they've done that they're not proud of. I'm not making excuses for a guy like Trump saying that what he's done is acceptable, but I try to look at it from a perspective of he's not perfect. I don't know anybody that is. Now, does the main of his morality, what he's trying to accomplish, do I agree with? Because as much as I can say that I want somebody that I can agree with morally, it is impossible for me to know what he stands for really, because I don't know him.
Right.
So I can only judge by the information that is relayed by a camera. And we all know that social media is the biggest fucking lie on the
Right.
planet.
And you
It
do
is
have
so easy.
and Nico, you do have a sample size as far as what's being promised and what's being delivered is concerned, right? Which goes back to my what I'm saying. It's a political arena. It's about what they can promise and what they whatever. I have a love-hate relationship with the term lesser of two evils, right? Some people like, if you vote for lesser of two evils, you're voting for evil, right? But with that being said, on the flip side of that coin, lesser of two evils means that there's a compromise happening. You're voting for this person because even though you don't agree with this, you're getting something for your buck, right? Now, what's happening the last election? With when Biden won, people compromised. People wanted the adults back in the room, but they didn't get right. They didn't get anything for their buck, right? They said they're saying inflation's down right now. Anyone who's did you go grocery shopping today? Right? Did you go to the gas station?
25.6%.
Yeah.
Over the past 3 years. Inflation has hit 25.6% over the past 3 years.
But
because of Bidenomics, it reflects a direct increase of 21.2% in consumer goods.
right.
Now, there's a video, and there's a lot of those videos, but there's a specific one that I saw. Is this guy on he goes to his Walmart list, right? He orders a bunch of stuff on Walmart, and basically the video, what it shows is he has his old orders. So he goes back to an order that was 2 years ago.
Okay.
And he has the option to reorder so that you don't have to do it. He calls it his monthly groceries. And I can send you the videos if you want, but basically it's him reordering. It's 45 items. 2 years ago, cost him $126. He clicks on that beautiful button that says reorder.
It's probably like 168.
414 and 39. So as much as all the numbers that I could find this morning when I was preparing for this podcast are indicating an increase at about 21% on consumer goods, there are a bunch of videos out there that are showing the cost. Like even Dr. Phil had a brilliant video coming out that he came out. I posted it, I talked about it, but he shows all the prices increase. And just on travel right now, just on travel tickets, you're talking 35% increase.
Jeez.
Within the span of 2 years. We're not talking over the past 10 years here. We're really talking over the past 2 years. And this is the thing. If you're going to argue about something, if you are going to change, if you're going to pick your president based on the lesser of two evil, remove the personality aside, because I don't even understand how people can like Kamala Harris.
Right.
I don't understand. She is a tool. And not only is she not that bright,
heads or tails.
So forget the personality, because I understand why people don't like Trump's personality. I get it. But at the same time, I don't understand how people can like Kamala Harris. So let's remove their personality from the get-go. Let's remove the fact that she's a air quote black woman and he's a white guy. So let's remove the physicality. Let's remove the personality and just look about what they're talking about. You can see her track record over the past 3.5 years, and her and Biden has destroyed the economy. The numbers are there. Like it or not, the numbers are there. And
well, the economy did well for a particular class of people. I mean, there's a lot of people that made out well in this economy. Yep.
But you and I and poor people are the ones that are being hit by this, right?
Yeah.
When you were under Trump, that was not the case. So you can look. This, to me, what impacts the people the most, and if you look at the studies right now and the polls that are coming out, the number one thing that bothers people is the economy, inflation / the economy.
Amen.
That's the number one problem that they have. So if you consider that, remove everything else, and who has done better? Because they both had the chance to perform. You can look at the 4 years under Trump, and you can look at the 3.5 years under Bidenomics. Because
which is really 4, because he's done for the rest of the year. So you could just call it 4 years. You could just call it 4 years.
I'm trying to be. Yeah,
he's drooling somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's being
but
fed.
But the point of the matter is
somewhere.
that you can see both of them, and if she really wanting to change something, she still has 6 months to do so. But yet she's making promises, and she can't even give us a plan right now. She has no plan. She's saying, she basically, all she said, she's going to give $6,000 to new parents in tax cut. She'll give 50,000 in tax cut to new business owners, to small business owners. That's it. That's her plan. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Are you?
There was
and she's talking about setting prices for goods, which economists are saying that is the most terrible ideas, because you're going to start seeing empty shells. Yeah. That's what's going to happen. And it happened. And it's a Marxist thing. It is definitely, it is a communist socialist Marxist.
It has some of the earmarks, but I think for people to make the illogical leap to just labels is also ridiculous. Like, she's the worst Marxist ever. Okay, this woman believes in profit prisons. She believes in, I mean, most
Marxists
she is
do,
the biggest capitalist ever, man. She's, that's like saying Obama was a Muslim, man. The guy liked to drink. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the dude is like the worst Muslim ever.
But the point in the matter is that if you look at any Marxist, socialist, or communist ideologies, it's not about the people at the top.
Right.
It's always about the rest. It's a control mechanism. That's all it is. Right. So the people that are at the top, that are in control, they're doing very well.
No, but that's
they believe in capitalism.
Right.
It's the idiots at the bottom. They're like, oh yeah, the proletariat, yay, let's regain our rights. Yeah, no. So this is the thing. If you're going to make the next election about a one-issue election, don't make it about abortion. Make it about the economy.
I would also,
and this is my problem. Yeah. This is what I find absolutely hilarious is, you want to make it about one thing? No problem. No problem. I get it. Most people are like that.
All right.
Make it about the economy. Make it about what impacts your life on an everyday basis.
I want you to follow up on what I'm about to say. All right. I got 60 seconds. All right. As far as abortion is concerned, I think we can walk and chew gum at the same time. But I think as far as order of importance, it's the economy, stupid, as that person would say. With abortion, most people will have an abortion maybe one time in their life, maybe twice or whatever. And those are things that happen in your life once or twice. And whether you decide to have an abortion or decide to have the baby, it's the most important decision you'll ever make in your life. And what I don't want to have right now, at least for this conversation, is a room full of men to talk about what a woman's decision should be. I'd like to have a bunch of women in the room to conversate about that, because if you look at the polls and the percentages, it sways more towards 67%. We're not talking about the rare case of someone having it in the
Bring me back when you do.
In the ninth month, right? We're not talking about these rare instances where there's someone's probably mentally ill having it before or after the baby pops out. That's ridiculous, right? Then you got but as far as the economy is concerned, I think small businesses also by polls said that they did better under Donald Trump. So I have to give credit where credit's due. Though I don't think that that's a Marxist thing, because I thought a lot of people did well under Obama's regime too, because at the end of the day he was a shill for the establishment. So a lot of people and small businesses made out with him, right? Check out the gas prices in 2015; they were almost identical from what Trump did. I mean, really. Call it a Lakers game, right? Lakers are down by 20 points. LeBron James brings them back. And now they're up 105-99. And then someone comes in for LeBron and scores a layup, and he gets credit for the layup. And this is what's going on with from Obama to Trump. Except this idiot missed the layup. You're 60 seconds.
Arguable. No, but hold on. That's arguable, though. Because at the end of the day, Trump did well, and Obama still backed banks. And this is the problem. This is the problem that I have with most politicians, is that they say something, they do something completely different. And this is what you see different under a Trump. He's telling you exactly what he's going to do. He doesn't care. He's not worried that it's going to hurt your feelings. He's like
Thanos.
I will do this, and his middle finger
snaps his finger
air,
like
right?
Thanos.
And this is the thing. If I love politics in a way, as I find it very interesting. Mm-hmm. But I dread politics because I don't like people like Obama. They're very good speakers. They're very good at telling you what they might do that never end up doing it. Obama won a world peace, a prize for world peace.
Yeah, Nobel Prize.
Yet he is the president that bombed the most countries.
No, but the same morning he's had to send 18,000 troops to Afghanistan. The morning that he accepted the award. So isn't that ironic?
but this is my point, right?
But
If
you're
we agree, and this
but
is the problem.
you're also glossing over your point, okay, Mister? We secured the oil. We have the oil. All right, 2018, we dropped so many bombs on Syria, we literally ran out of bombs. And last time I checked, 2018 wasn't Obama's watch. That wasn't Biden's watch. That's Donald Trump's watch. So this
But
whole
hold
thing
on.
this whole thing,
But
because those are my two important tenets. Anti-war
you're
and free speech.
but
This man is also a simp for the military-industrial complex. So let's not play ourselves.
but that's the thing. I'm not trying.
No, go ahead.
This is
Sorry.
exactly my point. What I point out is the hypocrisy.
Ah,
That
no,
we're very
that's your
fast
point.
at
Got you.
calling Trump out, but then if I start saying that about Obama, I'm racist. If I start saying that Kamala Harris, a DEI hire, which is a fact,
Right.
she was not voted for, she was not elected to be where she is, and Biden admitted in 2019 before he chose her that he wanted to have a black woman when he ran.
Right.
That was, you can find the videos. I was looking at them last week.
Yep.
So on once this is my
And
problem.
if you ask
and this
black
is what I
people,
point-
he failed. If you ask any black person, they failed.
But
I thought she was
this is-
Indian. All of a sudden,
but-
4 months from
yeah.
now, she's black.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
But
That dude
it's
was
fucking
hilarious.
brilliant. It's brilliant.
That dude was
But-
hilarious.
the point in the matter is that we're very fast at calling the bad about Donald Trump, but we don't dare calling the bad about Obama. We don't dare. If I call right now, if I call Kamala Harris a DEI hire, I'm a racist, I'm a misogynist, I'm sexist, I'm this, I'm all the words that you can imagine. Yet it's a fucking fact that I can easily show to you.
I lean more
it's very
left
easy
than
to
right. Let me
show.
tell you something. I lean more left than right. So I have to say this before what I'm saying next. In the classic sense of the term DEI hire, is there any better example?
Nope. She sucked her way to power.
Not
That's
one single
literally what she did.
delegate. This is someone that didn't get one single delegate and
Nope.
skipped over the primary process. They threw out 14 million votes. And
She was rated
said,
the worst VP
congratulations,
2 months
you're
ago.
an Avenger.
2 months prior to being endorsed by Biden, she was voted the worst VP of all time.
Right.
Now she's the Democrat savior.
All right.
You know, Bill Maher said something yesterday. I think it was this week. Absolutely hilarious. You know how many delegates voted for Kamala Harris in 2020? You can count them on one hand if you had no fingers. I'm like, oh, bro.
You can count them on one hand if you just had a fist. These hands. In fact, I could count them on two hands. Look, I could count them on two hands. Look, no fingers.
But this
finish
is my
your thought
point,
because
and
I have
But this is what I find hilarious about this whole thing is that we're very good at calling out Trump with all of his lacks, and God knows there's a lot of them. But if I dare turn around and say the same thing about Kamala Harris, I'm called all the name possible in the dictionary.
Right.
Yet I'm simply pointing out, and I've started creating content about a month ago. That's all I do. I just point out the irony about Kamala Harris. I take what she says and I just say it in a way I'm like, interesting. If he said that, you wouldn't agree. But because she says it, you'll forgive her.
Yeah.
And this is the hypocrisy that I'm trying to point out as guys, come on.
It's because tech is run by people who lean more left than right, right? I mean,
100%.
Trump has been comparable to Adolf Hitler, right? All of those posts on social media and on YouTube is still up. Those aren't coming down, right? They basically called him Adolf Hitler, right? Don't even get me started on like the whole COVID thing, right? Like Rachel Maddow said, you can't give it because you won't get it, and that post is that from a few years ago, is still up, right? Biden, Trump, they were all wrong on that, and some of those posts are still up because it feeds a certain narrative. Now, next 60-second round, because I want to talk about the debate, but before we talk about the debate, we have to talk about something more important that is segue to the debate. All right. 2018, there was a huge exodus. People left the Democratic Party. In 2022, after the red wave or red scare, there were a lot of people that elected Democrats. They weren't promised. And there are people that are just, there are more registered independents in like these spurts. And the debate question, which is weird because I think you'll be surprised. We might disagree on the why. I think we both agree on the what. We both agree that there's all of the polls show that there's this exodus of a lot of people just leaving the party. Some of them are leaving the party to go Republican, and some of them they just can't vote for Trump, but they can't do this chick either, right? And everyone listening, you know what I'm talking about. Everybody who's listening is like, look, they're like, mm-hmm. So I'm gonna go 60 seconds first because I think you feed better off of me, counterpoints or whatever. So the question is, why is there an exodus in the Democratic Party? So my 60 seconds. Nico Lagan, my man, I think there's an exodus because of two reasons. Malcolm X said that there's a wolf, you see him coming, and there's a fox that shows you his teeth like he's friendly, but they bite you just the same. So that's the wolf is the Republican Party because they're openly admitting, and the Democrats pretend to be your friend. They promise you the world. If you're in a nightclub dancing, there's always going to be this guy that really wants to have sex with this girl, and he's going to tell her he loves her, wants to spend the rest of his life with her, and he just wants to sleep with her. And when he sleeps with her, he's gone. And that's what the Democrats have been promised, and at the same time they felt a class structure has not been delivered. Because I know some people are, Biden did this, Biden did that. No, there's a forgotten class. There's a blue collar class, to a working class. I don't even know if there's a middle class anymore. I don't even know if they exist anymore. And the last straw is a Democratic primary in a Democratic election. There was no primary, there was no democracy, and there was no actual election. There was election by selection. So don't be surprised if we see a third exodus of the Democratic Party, and don't be surprised because everyone's making it look like Kamala's like way ahead. And I'm telling you, if Trump wins in November, I'm not watching Saturday Night Live and watch that chick on the piano cry, playing the piano, trying to sing a song and cry at the same time. The floor is yours. Why is there an exodus from the Democratic Party?
I don't think that there's an exodus. It's I don't know if I can share my screen because, man, I got the perfect. I found a meme just for you. I'll send it to you afterwards if you want to put it. But if the listeners want to see it, just Google how the middle became the right, and you are the perfect example for this. So it's basically all it is somebody sitting in the middle. There's a white line between his legs. And on both sides, there's the red and there's the blue. Obviously, we know what that means. Basically, what the cartoon is showing is the Democrats pushing the person that's white towards the people that are red. They're going so far left that anything right of left is now considered far right. And this is the problematic. I do not believe that there are more Republicans than ever. No. But I do believe that the left has gone so woke that even the people on the left are like, hey, what the fuck? What are you saying here? I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that at all. But if I disagree with what the left is telling me, I'm automatically a Republican. I'm not a Republican. I'm somewhere in the middle. There's not a term for what I am. No, I'd be closer to
you're not part of a tribe.
No, but I'd be more of a libertarian. Like I sit somewhere in the middle. Some issues I'm more on the left. Some issues I'm more on the right. But at the end of the day, I'm a Christian. So I do have morals that I stand by. And unfortunately, they seem to make me more Republican than Democrats. But at the end of the day, I'm a conservative. If I had to describe myself, I believe in more conservative values. I believe in morality. I believe that the individual is responsible for making a society great. Not the society is not responsible for making the individual great. It's the other way around.
There is also going to be a huge dynamic of black voters that has changed dramatically. And I'll tell you why. Black evangelical Christians identify, even though they're registered as Democrat, they identify with, I guess, what they call Republican values, right? Everybody has fallen to this tribe where, and this is why tribalism is the enemy of healthy dialogue. Tribalism is because I'm talking about evangelicals, Assemblies of God people, who, for all the same reasons you're a Republican, they just can't cross that line. And it's because they feel abandoned. You watch the ALCU or in the NAACP actually fight in court, in the Superior Court, for the right for the KKK to protest, right? This is a few years ago. They actually went to court because they thought free speech was important back then, and it's a slippery slope. If you silence these Nazis, then if you're going to silence someone as powerful as them, how easy is it to silence black people, right? So right now, if you look at all of the people who are being snubbed for free speech, there's a lot of people that have a lot to say, but it seems like black people are the ones getting censored. Candace Owens, Breonna Greyjoy, who was Joy Gray, who was Bernie Sanders' press secretary, just got dismissed from the Hill, right? Kanye West, right? Kyrie Irving, right? There's a lot of people that have a lot to say, and some people just get politically snubbed, and there's some people that get canceled. Not to mention like reparations and reparation consistency, right? There are a lot of black people that know that it's difficult for them to get reparations, never had accepted that. But let me tell you what they're watching. Descendants of Japanese people, they got their reparations. Native Americans, descendants of Native Americans got their reparations. Descendants of slave owners, descendants of slave owners got their reparations. So even, let's say you're against someone that's against reparations, you're going to find a large population that is at least for reparation consistency. And when it comes to black people, it's always America, love it or leave it. And there's a large, I'm telling you, my mother's African American. I grew up on Flatbush Avenue, and that was in the 70s and 80s. And that philosophy of feeling left out, that was 40 years ago. That was during Reagan. That was during Clinton. That was during Bush. That was during Obama. They still feel left out. And this notion that they have to vote Democrat because they want to avoid fascism or they want to avoid totalitarianism. That has been a bipartisan thing for them their whole lives. Like Ice Cube said it best. Yeah, they're like, oh, why'd you go to Trump? He's like, he's the president. I need something from my people, and this is the guy in office. So there's a huge, and I don't know if this is going to swing states but it's definitely going to swing some districts. There are a large demographic of black people who are just fed up.
And can you blame them? The Democrats have been playing on them for 30 years now.
The fox and the wolf.
Your fox analogy when it comes to the Democrats,
that was Malcolm X.
Yeah, but the way they treat the way the Democrats are treating black people, he's bang on. He's absolutely right. He's absolutely right, and that's what they're fed up, because I have a bunch of friends that are black, they're Democrats, yet now they're Trumpists. Just because they're like, I'm tired of this shit. Yeah. I'm tired of them. And not only that, but the Democrats are literally calling you. You had Biden say on camera that if you don't vote for him, you're not a real black person. Bro, you're like the whitest person ever.
Tell me there wasn't a bunch of black people that went.
What? Did you see the video of him going to eat fried chicken with a black family?
You froze, and you're gonna come back
Seriously,
in a minute.
Bro?
But
did
they fill the stereotype?
Did you bring your whip?
No, but did they check all the boxes on the stereotype? By the way,
but as bad as this sounds, this is how the Democrats have been playing their game, and now a lot of black people are like, what the man? Like, seriously?
And you know who hates the term woke worse than anybody? Black people. Woke. Yeah, in its original term was in the past. It was saying, watch out for white people who think they're on your side, and just watch for these little things that show that they're against you. So the original term woke was hijacked by a
bunch of white liberals.
latte liberals, dude. Latte liberals, dude.
Yep.
Yeah, limousine liberals. Yeah, and it's weird because me agreeing with you, I come off like a conservative. I'm sure there's people listening to this podcast.
Racist, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
Because you agree with me, you're white supremacist.
To quote my boy Jason Olive, he's like, so the black guy with the white wife and the Latino nanny.
Yeah. I'll send you your welcome hat and your welcome shirt.
Yeah, give me like a backwards MAGA hat, a reverse MAGA hat, or just give me a regular MAGA hat and I'll go on TikTok and it'll reverse by itself.
Yeah,
but and it's very, very odd. Like, you just disagreed You actually agree with me on some things that identify with liberal values, but no one, and no one's actually going to call you. The liberals are not going to call you a liberal for that. They're only going to call me a conservative for someone that actually has never only voted Republican once in his life. I voted for HW. You know, and that was because I was in the army. In the army, you vote Republican. That's just what you do. So finish with your thought now, because we're going to the debate next.
All I was going to say is that that's the rhetoric that you're seeing everywhere. Even Hillary Clinton had an interview yesterday on ABC, and she basically said, I just posted a video about that just before we jumped on the call, but she was basically calling Trump a danger to the world, and that the media needs to be constant about their messaging towards Trump. And I'm like, okay, hold on here. You're talking about a candidate, a 2016 candidate that did not get elected because people think she's a even the Democrats are like, oh, this woman is evil. We have a term to describe what she does to people. It's called Clinton. You committed suicide with 2 bullets in the back of the head.
Yeah,
that's a term that's associated with her.
Whoa, that's a suicide.
Yeah, 2 bullets in the back of the head, bro.
Hands tied behind your back, double tapping you to the room. Yeah. That is, Nico, hold on, listen, for YouTube purposes, all right, that is the suicide, and this guy knows it, all right? He knows it.
Yeah, but it's
like saying Candyman 3 times,
hilarious
dude.
that you have her going on camera saying that Trump is the most dangerous person, yet the people that have been trying to assassinate him twice now, where one was a trans and the other guy went to fight for Ukraine. They're as Democrat as they can be. They're like the wokest of Democrats. But yet the problem is Trump.
Well, Jon Stewart would probably pin a medal on him.
But this is what I find interesting, is that the Republicans are being called the party of hate, the party that they're going to destroy democracy. Yet the people that are trying to censor Trump are Democrats. The people that are bringing him to court for everything. If he does something wrong and they can sue him for it, they're going to do it. Now there's been 2 attempts on his life, and they're brushing it off the rug, like under the rug, like it's nothing.
That should be at the top of the
nothing.
That should be at the top of the world news, dude.
But that has never happened in the history of the U.S. that a presidential candidate. We're not talking about a president. He's not the sitting president right now. Because the last person that got shot was Reagan in 1981.
But he was a sitting president.
But that's my point.
Yeah.
So the last time
RFK got shot running. RFK got shot running. Mm-hmm.
But that's my point. You have to go back almost 60 years to find a candidate that got shot. He got shot twice. He got attempted twice in the span of 2 months. We have never seen this.
No.
Yet the Democrats keep on saying that they are the party of love and tolerance and joy, while their own people are trying to assassinate Trump, and they keep on saying that it's okay. Have you noticed that they're not going out there and telling their people to stop doing it? Yet they're telling Trump on January 6th that him saying to his people to be patriots and being calm is inciting. You're
making it easier for me to be a conservative in this case.
But this is my point, because it goes with your Fox analogy very well. So the same thing that they've been telling black people for 30, 40 years, now they're saying to their whole party. It's not even on race anymore. They're basically telling their whole party, you can't vote for this guy because he's going to destroy democracy. Yet 2 weeks ago, Mark Zuckerberg came out to say that Biden and Harris put pressure on him to censor conservative voices that they didn't agree with. This is no longer a conspiracy theory. This is not a theory anymore. No. Zuckerberg came out and said it out loud that he regrets saying this.
Yes.
That he regrets doing it.
Well, I don't know if you watched Joe Rogan. He said the FBI did it first. And this is a year ago. And he was on Rogan's podcast and he said the FBI did it first. Yeah.
The things that I've been saying for years, he came out and said that it's true.
Right.
So, but now you have the connection of Harris and Biden. So the sitting government right now has been caught censoring people, which that goes against the First Amendment. And on another breath, you have a Kamala Harris that's saying that if elected within the span of the first 100 days of her presidency, if they do not pass the common sense gun laws that she wants to pass, she will put universal background check, red flag laws, and she will ban assault rifles or assault weapons. Sorry. So basically, she's saying, and I just had a conversation
She's an idiot.
yesterday.
She said semi-automatic weapons. Do they even know what a semi-automatic means?
But my point is that
Sorry, go ahead.
you have the party that is saying that has been caught censoring people. So they've been going after the First Amendment. They've been caught breaking it. No consequences. You have Kamala Harris that's saying on camera, and Tim Walz is saying the same thing, that they will ban assault weapons. Sorry. Assault rifles are already banned. Assault weapons. I was on the discussion with I had a podcast with the president of the second biggest pro-gun organization in the US, gunrights.org, and even him was explaining how it goes against the Second Amendment. So basically, she is saying about Trump that he's going to destroy democracy while destroying the democracy themselves. It's Karl Marx said it best: accuse others of doing what you do.
Well, let me
shift the blame to somebody else. And I don't understand. And I'm not surprised that they're doing it, because they're playing the cards that they have.
Right.
They don't have anything left.
But let me go ahead. Sorry.
What blows my mind is that people are not seeing the game that they're playing. This is what bothers me: is what is it going to take for people on the left to look at this and say, what the is going on?
Let me ask you a personal question.
Like, this is insane.
Let me ask you
because I've been going through this in Canada for the past 10 years now.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. What a story. At least what
Trudeau,
a story, dude.
When he came out, he lied about it.
Right.
When he came out in 2010 and he said, I will never go against people's guns because guns are part of Canadian culture. Yet, when he got elected, he started planning it. And in 2020, banned assault weapons. And 2 years ago, he banned handguns. I can't sell, I can't buy, I can't exchange, I can't return, I can't transfer anymore.
Well, there goes your free speech
that I bought legally have to sit in a safe that I can't do anything with. He lied about it. Kamala Harris is saying it out loud.
Okay, so, let me ask you something. As a big Second Amendment guy, on a personal level, because this is associated to what we're talking about, does your values in Orthodox Christianity cross swords with pacifism?
What do you call pacifism? You think that Christians are passive?
I think there's a philosophy of turning the other cheek, but there's also a human thing of saying that's in the Bible and I'm not in there. That's just my personal philosophy, right? I don't believe there's I believe there's not a Christian that wouldn't fight for their life. So my question, because you have Christian values,
but this is why there's a difference between murder and killing.
Yeah, and that's why I wanted to give you a chance to present that.
And this to me explains it extremely well. It is not you shall not kill, is you shall not murder. Killing is basically unliving somebody with intent. It was premeditated. You were trying to do something bad. Sorry, this is murder. Oh, my apologies. Murder is premeditation. You planned on killing somebody. This was not in self-defense. This is the big difference. Killing, self-defense. Murder, premeditated. You're trying to do something evil. If you walk into my house, my family's here, I will defend myself.
Right.
If you end up dying, bro, you're living the consequences of your actions.
But yet in the book...
But you got to be careful. When it says to turn the other cheek, it doesn't mean that you can't defend yourself. Like, let's say, I'll give you a perfect example for this. There was a preacher. There's a video of this preacher that I like. He was preaching on a corner, whatever, and he's saying some stuff. And there's a guy that walks next to him, smacks him 100% in the face, just blow, shoves it, just smacks him.
Man, someone
you know what he did? And the guy
Jesus.
Continues walking. The guy just continues walking. You know what the pastor did? He started talking in his microphone. He's like, God loves you and I forgive you, brother. That is turning the other cheek.
Right.
You have to understand the differences between, if your life isn't at risk, if somebody on the way to the gym after this podcast, somebody puts his hands on me, am I going to beat him up into a pulp? Of course not.
Right.
I understand that probably all I have to do is to break a finger, sweep him to the floor, and he's going to understand that if this carries on, he's going to be in big problem.
It's not.
He's going
Yeah,
to
it's
be in
not going
big
to end
trouble.
well. Right.
Exactly. I will
In
get
fact,
rid
it
of
should
the
end right there.
exactly. I'm giving you the opportunity. I'm protecting myself while giving you the opportunity to weigh your decisions.
Right.
And this to me is this is why that pastor is such a great example, because he was not in danger.
Well,
That guy was not throwing the smack and then you didn't have a 1-2 hook coming on all over it.
no,
The
but
guy smacked and
there's
he
also a
continued
mixture of
walking.
love and faith that makes you
A hundred
a little
percent.
bit more fearless, right? In the book of Matthew, Jesus said, "You know the commandment: do not kill. But verily I say unto thee, if you hate your brother, you've killed him." Right. So hatred is what consumes you. Hatred is what inspires fear, because hatred is more often than not derives from fear which you don't understand. Right? Do we agree with that? Before I move on, uh, um, and
I agree with you a
that's
thousand
why
percent. That's
no, but
why
that's
you'll
so
never
I
hear
didn't
me say
no,
I
but I
hate
didn't mean to
something.
ask a rhetorical question, but it's a question where a lot of people are like, who are not Christians, are like, oh, don't kill this and that, and I just wanted to present it in a way that wasn't completely biased, because I kind of knew where you were coming from, but for our listeners, right? We know what we each other say, but we owe it to our viewers to be more explicit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And one of my favorite pastors, YouTube guy, Pastor Dewey, said you cannot evangelize and antagonize at the same time. You know, you want to cling to your values. You want to spread love. You're not going to do it by gaslighting people. You're not going to do it by whatever, because gaslighting leads to group mentalities. Group mentality leads to tribalism. Tribalism leads to hatred of one or the other. And hatred, of course, derives from fear, which you don't understand. So philosophically, religiously, and just a kid from Brooklyn, that's not the American way. That's not the Christian way. And God's
Yeah.
watching for the Christians. For Christians. God's not fooled. God's watching. He's watching.
But at the same time, one of the things also that we need to understand is, yes, you have the right to defend yourself. Yes, you should turn the other cheek when you're not in danger, when it's a question of ego.
Right.
You know, if I would attack I have been in a lot of fights in my life, and it was fighting for ego. My feelings got hurt, and I had the skill to hurt somebody, so I did.
Yep.
But with great power comes great responsibility.
No doubt.
But the thing is what we can push it even further. And another great example, I recorded a podcast with a guy called Craig Sawyer yesterday. I don't know if you ever heard of the guy, but he runs an organization called Vets for Child Rescue.org. He's an ex-Navy SEALs 6 team.
Okay.
He was enforcement. He air marshal. He's done everything in the world to be a badass that he is. But now he specializes in rescuing kids from child trafficking. He works with police forces all over the country, and he arrests pedophile and tries to rescue the children. That's what he does. He puts stings operation in place. The dude is great. And I had a podcast with him yesterday, and he's saying through Christ, he understands how to fight evil now, and it doesn't need to be violent. And I asked him the question yesterday, which I struggle with as a Christian. I struggle with pedophiles. I believe in the death penalty when it comes to pedophile, because it's a circle. There was a study made that 70 to 80% of pedophiles were touched as children.
Yeah.
So you can eliminate a circle right there. But the point is that he was telling me yesterday, because I asked him, I'm like, do you think that pedophilia can be cured? I personally don't believe that it can be.
I think as a Christian, you believe anything's possible, but.
And you know what his answer was? He's like, with modern medicine, no, because I believe that it is a spiritual problem.
Right. Yeah, because.
And we're talking about Navy SEAL 16, one of the baddest motherfucker you'll ever go.
Yeah. One of the most respected in the Spec Ops community. Yeah.
One of the guys that actually arrests those pedophiles. He deals with them physically. It's not he saw it on the internet. That's what he does.
But boy, did we step into it. Boy, did we step into it YouTube style, Nico. I love it.
You know what I'm saying is that I'm like, Jesus, bro, that's beautiful what you just said. But this is Christianity for me.
Yeah.
Is always striving to be better although it might go against everything that you believe in, because understand that you are not perfect.
No, no,
And this is where it
and that's
stems
why,
from. This is why
which is why I
that's
said
why I
you
read my
can't
Bible every day,
evangelize.
bro.
You can't evangelize and antagonize at the same time, because, like you said, in
No,
some way, and that philosophy, ideology, or religious perspective, we all fall short. If we're talking about Orthodox Christianity, no,
100%.
none are worthy, no, not one. Right?
Mhm.
I love that you brought up the thing about human trafficking, because I became more mindfully aware of it when and again, I didn't vote for Trump, and I'm not going to, and I nor will I ever. But there's something about first ladies, right? And first ladies want to have this platform. Like Barbara Bush was like, just say no. No, Nancy Reagan, just say no to drugs, right? Michelle Obama, she's doing them aerobics with a bunch of kids, jumping around with pom poms, and everybody's happy. Child fitness, right? Melania's is the most ignored. Human trafficking was her platform to make people more mindful and aware of it. And she was and it was one of those things where, I guess, because when her husband became president, and because of what's going on in the world, you haven't heard her say a peep about it since. But it was an itch I couldn't scratch. And then the movie Sound of Freedom came out, and then they just started rolling out statistics like there are more enslaved children in the world now than when back in the day when slavery was legal, right? And the through line to that, and I want you to get your thought. The through line to that for me is like, how many pedophiles have you caught? And he had some kind of number like 281. That's a good number. But the second question was, how many kids have you rescued? And it was like, how many
Yep.
traffickers have you caught?
Mhm.
Right? So like you said, through God's grace or medication or healing or neurology or something, whatever, I do believe somehow, some way, pedophilia can be cured. But at the same time, if it's a business, it's already past the it's rivaling the arms trade right now, and drug trafficking. And it's sad, and it's scary, and I'm going to say this on YouTube, because you can use a bag of cocaine once, but like a kid, right? That's something, and that's sick. And these people, and it's crazy that nobody mentions this more. Oh, by the way, on a lighter note, Bill Camp, who was in that movie, who I thought deserved a best supporting actor. They didn't get nominated for anything, but I thought Bill Camp was a savage. And guys,
Yeah,
recommendation: Apple TV. There's a redo of Presumed Innocent, and he's actually the district attorney
that's
he was
I like that guy.
Rusty, for the guys that read the book, Rusty's superior, the district attorney
Yeah.
that lost the election. He's in this movie, and he is, Nico. He's so character driven. Sorry, let's go to
But
the.
listen, but listen,
Go ahead,
but
please.
listen to this, because I recorded this podcast yesterday, so I have all of my notes from it.
Yeah.
38 billion a year industry in the US alone. That's child trafficking.
Well, we're the
It is
biggest
the
consumer,
fastest
right? Are we the
it
biggest
is the
consumer?
fastest growing criminal enterprise on earth, and the blackmail that it creates is the root of most of Americans' political corruption.
Right.
More than 30,000 victims of sex trafficking die each year in the US from abuse, torture, and neglect. 71% of trafficked children have suicide tendencies.
Yep.
But the one that with me the most, child predators
Mm-hmm.
arm an average of 70 children each. That is the average of how many children they abuse before they get caught, or if they ever get caught. How insane is that? That the average predator
Mm-hmm.
hurts more than 70 children. It's absolutely, absolutely insane. But if you want
But
to
who
hear
who do you think? But who do
insanity,
you think is the big consumer of that? The biggest consumer? Which country? We have to be
America,
top three.
America,
I
yep.
mean,
And
I
and
don't
you
know if you have
know,
that stat in front of you, but we have to be top three.
after speaking with Craig yesterday, one of the things that kept on coming back to is what Governor of Texas Abbott said sometime this year. I don't remember exactly the date, but he said in an interview that one of the biggest problems facing American politics right now is blackmail. because the people in power, the people at the head of the massive corporations, the one that have a lot of money, have blackmailed every single politicians out there, because they will make sure that they put them in situation where they will do something that is morally wrong. And Craig yesterday was saying that kids are just one of that exchange. It's bad. Like, when you start thinking about it, it is so bad that children are basically used as a way to enslave other people. It's insane, because you have demonic people that are going to think that killing children pleases Satan, but you
Right.
have a lot of people that do want to rape children, and they're encouraged to do so. Like, why do you think Epstein himself, right?
Right.
Because we know who he served.
Mhm.
That list, if that real list comes out, we're going to start realizing that everybody that's in power is really ahead.
Yes.
And
For YouTube
this is
purposes,
what hurts.
Pizzagate was bullshit, okay?
Yeah.
Pizzagate is bullshit, all right? And whatever this man
here's-
said, hey, listen, Epstein, maybe he just had enough. Maybe he just had enough and wanted to end it all.
Yeah, of course, of course. And I'm calling it right now. I called it this morning. Sean Diddy Combs is going to Epstein himself very soon.
He's already been arrested.
Just putting it
as
out
of this, the headline, he was actually arrested. You know, I don't know when his arraignment is, or
I did a video about him getting arrested this morning, but it came out since this morning
Mhm.
that it is on trafficking. Because they were federal agents that arrested him. So it's supposedly it's about trafficking, but
you know what the
where I
tinfoil
wanted to
hat
go-
people are saying, right? They got to give him one. They got to give the public one guy, and Diddy's already out there, so let's give him the one. But go ahead, sorry.
He's going to be Epstein. He's going to be Epstein.
I don't think so.
The one thing that I wanted to point out, and those are statistics that anybody can find if you really look for them, just Google them actually. But within the past 3 years, it's estimated that 365,000 children have crossed the southern border alone. ICE have failed to serve notice to appear to more than 290,000 of those children. And out of those 290,000 children, 85,000 cannot be tracked. They have no clue where those kids are. And those are the numbers that are reported. And if you understand that there's been more than 10 million illegal immigrants coming through the southern border, and if you look at a documentary, it's a free documentary by Craig Sawyer called Contraland, you can find it on YouTube. He shows some of the places that MS-13, the gang, uses in Mexico to cross through Arizona, and it's literally a little gate. It's a little fence that you can jump over, but there's even a gate. And he's like, if I would cross there, if I would touch my foot there, I'd be in Mexico. So the point in the matter is that there's a lot of kids that are crossing the southern border that they do not know where they're at.
And that's
some of the numbers that I heard is 250,000 kids have been lost.
And from a political perspective, that's a bipartisan thing. I have a big secret for everybody listening. We're allowing this to happen. All right.
100%.
Three years ago, we shut down the country. We locked down our own country, the entire country. You couldn't leave the house, couldn't stand next to each other, couldn't migrate, couldn't go to church, couldn't go to where, had to, the DoorDash guy was the only guy that had like political freedom. We locked down an entire country. Don't tell me we can't secure a border. As long as the border has problems, there's opposition politics. And as long as there's opposition politics, there's money. There's money. You don't think your man Sawyer's a SEAL Team 6 guy, right? And I'm ex-military, and I did hang out with the Rangers, who, by the way, are like absolute zombies. These guys you could leave in the North Pole with like nothing but their underwear, and they'll show up. They'll show up on the beach with like a freaking polar bear mink coat, just chilling with shades. These guys, easily one Ranger battalion or 5th Corps Hell on Wheels. Well, that's a corps. I'm not even. I'll forget corps, forget brigade. I'll just go battalion. I'll just go 165th MI. Can take care of our MS-13 problem tomorrow if we wanted to, easily. Your guy Sawyer could probably just do some guerrilla with two teams of 6, right, and disrupt their operations if we really wanted to. We shut down a whole. Is everybody listening to me? Are my viewers listening to me? We shut down the whole country.
Yep.
You couldn't leave the house. They arrested surfers. We called the Coast Guard and the police on a surfer. There's a guy who's out there, so the epitome of social distancing. We called the Coast Guard and the police, and it was on camera. Busting. Look, you have a great imagination, so I know you're picturing that in your head. We busted a surfer, so I wanted to land with that because I wanted to talk about the debate.
But before you do, all I want to
please.
say is this: is all the really important issues don't seem to be addressed. And what type of society are we if the people that are the most vulnerable, the children, we turn a blind eye to what's happening to them?
Yep.
And this is what the message of Craig yesterday was. And this is what hurts me the most, is that we are turning a blind eye to all the violence that is happening to the most innocent of our society, the children.
Mm-hmm. And these people need to spare me the fake tears. Right? Look, I'm gonna sound like a Trump guy again, but I have to. But I can't. We're too old for bullshit. We have to be honest with each other. When Trump was president, I'm telling you, there were people on the news crying about kids in cages. I mean, tears. Why? Like Oscar award-winning stuff. What they didn't know was those cages were assembled in 2014. So all of the pictures that they were showing of the cages and the aluminum foil and all that
We're
stuff,
under Obama.
those were assembled in 2014. So the pictures they were using to shun Trump were pictures before he was even in office. That's one. And two, Biden's been in office for 3 years and those cages are still there. Those cages are still there. So these people, can we just go to commercial, please? I can't take it. I'll try. And this is the problem I have with Trump, and this is where I'm going to oppose you. There's plenty of reasons not to like that guy. That goes beyond his mouth. Again, he dropped so many bombs in Syria, he ran out of bombs. Again, he helped finance Saudi, not finance, but supply soldiers to Saudi Arabia's war in Yemen, right? So Yemen shoots back, it's an act of war. They're not going to shoot back at American soldiers. So at the end of the day, this man said he's going to drain the swamp, and at the bottom of the swamp is the same people. But what I do have a problem with is they don't have to sensationalize lies to invent reasons to not vote for Trump. This has been my whole argument the whole time. Like the whole bloodbath comment. People think he was talking about, if I lose the election, there's going to be riots. No, he was talking about the auto industry. Yep. And the media is playing it like he was talking about something different. And the Charlotte thing, there's bad people on both sides. You need to stop making up things about him. You want to talk about morals? Man, I just want a president that doesn't rape. How about that? I just want a president that doesn't sexually assail. That includes the bimbos, right? 2 words, Tara Reid. So I gotta let you talk last because this is why I do a 60-second clock.
No, but what you're saying though is absolutely right. That's why
plenty of things about him that are true. Sorry.
The thing is that again, I'll go back to that because that's all I do every day is to point out the hypocrisy. And this is my biggest gripe that I have with this whole election right now, is it's only being called out on one side. And I listened to the debate, as brutal as it was to listen to. I listened to it and I took a lot of notes.
Hold that thought, because that's the next question. But that's the next question. But go ahead.
Yeah. All I was going to say is they're pinning a lot of things on him that have nothing to do with him. And at the same time, they're ignoring the fact that Kamala Harris have been in power for 3.5 months. And over the past 2 months, and I think the numbers that they showed was 500 days off that Biden has taken. So he spent more than a year, almost a year and a half of the 3.5 years. Yeah. So she was in power.
2 words, applesauce. That man, that man is sitting somewhere being fed some kind of sauce or whatever. And mind you, I voted for Biden. In 2020. So before anyone gets it twisted, 2 right-wingers here. No, I bought into the concept of the adults being in the room. That little.
And now she's selling that she's going to change.
But remember, I was talking
She's
about the
been
girl
a
in the club. Remember, I was talking about the girl in the
Yep,
club, and the guy that was like
yep,
promising to be with him just to sleep with her. That little girl was me. Okay, I
yep.
bought it. I got, I got,
Luckily, you were
I got,
lubed
I
up.
got honey dicked. Okay, I got,
Yep,
I got,
100%.
So,
Yep.
all right. So the debate question: we got Kamala Harris, right? The two apparent nominees, and this is the first debate, possibly two, maybe three. And as to the question of who won the debate and why, I'd like you to go first. I'll go second, and we'll spill over. Go.
The American people lost is my answer to the debate, because all Trump had to do was to point out the fact that they messed up the economy and just point out all the things that they've done wrong and keep to that and just keep on repeating it, just to say, are you better now than you were 4 years ago? And nobody in their right mind can say yes to that. So he would have won that debate, but she was good at getting under his skin and he was easy to manipulate. This was the debate. But she also avoided every single question out there. She didn't answer one single question truthfully or straight up. And ABC was on her side. Like, it was a 3 against 1. Let's not lie to each other. The two moderators were against him the whole way through. They fact checked him. Yet numbers came out from ABC saying that she lied more than 29 times. She didn't get fact checked one single time. So again, it comes down to the hypocrisy. Was that debate good? Absolutely not, because I think the American people lost.
Yeah.
Both the candidate forgot to make it about the people behind that TV. And when I told you I was in LA arguing with a bunch of leftists, I was not in that debate trying to convince them that I was right. I was trying to convince the people that will be watching that video that there's more to be listened to than what social media finds acceptable. There are people out there with an opinion that you should probably be exposed to. And this is the opportunity that debate missed. For the first time, they had the chance to speak, to go one against the other. But instead of attacking each other like children, they should have been debating for the benefit of the people behind that camera, the
Right.
people that were watching.
All
So
right. Ready? There were three biggest political layups missed. All right, they're easy political layups that got missed. Here are my top three. 2016 election, that was the easiest political layup for Hillary. She blew it. 2020 election, COVID and everything happening, the economy doing better. It was the easiest political layup for Trump, and Trump missed the layup. And the third one is this, right? Trump has debated 19, he knocked out 19 people out of the box in a Republican primary, right? It was kind of bargain basement as far as intelligence is concerned, but he did beat a bright mind in Hillary on the issues, and he did call her out on her past. Enter Kamala Harris, who had some people whispering in her ear, and the only thing they needed to say to Kamala Harris for her to win is say, tell him my crowd size was bigger. Tell him, Donald Trump, my crowd size is bigger. That was all they needed to trigger, because as bright as he was and as skilled as a debater he is, and 3-on-1, let me tell you something, 3-on-1 is great odds for anyone whose last name is Trump. Those guys, they fail so much and they defy the odds and eventually win or whatever. That should have been great odds from him, but all they had to do was tickle his ego identity. And from there, the whole crowd size thing, he just absolutely spilled. And the reason why she was laughing, the cats and dogs thing, by the way, whoever her coach was that told her don't cackle like the wicked, like Leona Helmsley meets the Wicked Witch of the West. Great job. Great job. That guy deserves a promotion, because I didn't hear the
she
I
did.
didn't
She
hear
did.
that, right? So great job by that coach. But all they needed to do is tickle his armpit about crowd size. And from there, all of the issues that were easy layups. The
He
border,
forgot them.
the border. He
Yep.
he could have just said, "Look, she did a terrible job." He has 90 seconds. He could have just been like, "She did a terrible job on the border. I'd like to give her the rest of my time." That's all. That's all.
And,
I mean, dude, that's all he had to say. And
but
abortion was
I
the
saw a
only issue I
post.
thought he was going to lose on, but he lost on all of them. And like you said, no thanks, no help to the moderators who were shaping their questions. Their questions were calls for conclusion. There weren't actually legit debate questions. There were questions that were You know what I'm saying? Like rhetorical calls for conclusion. And two, at the end of the day, because I'm politically motivated, I already know where Trump lied, and I already know where Biden where Harris lied, and there was a significance, and I'll finish by saying this, a significant bias on the fact check. That is like even Jake Tapper had to say that.
But it came out that, there's a whistleblower that came out from ABC saying that they had the questions prior, that Kamala had the questions prior, that what's her name? Lindsay Davis is a sorority sister of Kamala Harris. So
Yeah.
there's a lot like, but the thing is that the right is outraged by that. Yet I saw this coming. But this is the brilliance. No, but this is where one of the things that should be prone in Trump's favor is the fact that every single debate that that you're going to see with Kamala, that you've seen with Biden, are always going to be on extremely leftist platform. But he understands that there's no way they're going to show up to a conservative platform. So he is ready at a get-go. He's already at a disadvantage. But one of the things I want to mention, and it's something that I read off a post this week that kind of blew my mind because it's absolutely right. And those are what my comment is for the psychology fans out there. The post was about a conservative influencer that posted what his mother. So after the debate, his mother called him, his mother, which is a Democrat person,
Mm-hmm.
and she's like, you know what I've seen about what I've learned from this debate is this. Trump has been played into being a over the top passionate person. Like he was all over the place. He was talking about stuff that had nothing to do with the questions. And on the other side, you had Kamala Harris looking at Trump, smiling, shaking her head, acting like a child.
Because she
So
knew
ask
she got
yourself
him.
this question. But no, that's not why she's done that. That is what she does all the time. She talks, listen to any interview she's ever done. She's very belittling to people. She likes to talk down to people and laugh in their faces. That is because she can not control herself. Those are things that she hasn't mastered because she's not a great
Right.
politician.
Well, and she
But
also
hold
has
on,
political buttons to push too. But go ahead.
but the point that I was trying to make, and that was the point of that Democrat woman, is that who should you vote for? Somebody that laughs at all the problems that she created? Or do you want to vote for somebody that is so passionate about his love for the US that he's all over the place because he can't contain himself?
But
And I was sitting there reading this and I'm like, oh, like forget the people, forget that it's Trump and Kamala Harris that we're talking about. Take two different people and mute them. Just mute the debate and just look at the way that they are. You're like, holy shit, that guy's passionate about something, and that woman's she seems to laugh at everything.
right.
Like, forget what they're saying, just look at their behavior. And I'm like, damn. Then I started thinking, I'm like, okay, if I was in the place of Trump, which I've done debates, I talk to people I don't agree with all the time on video and off air, obviously. But if I was like Trump, if I was at the place of Trump, how controlled would I have been having somebody like her sitting across from me, lying after lying after lying, and the moderator are letting her be, and they're feeding her questions knowing that it's in her favor. This is a fact, and I think we agree on this one.
I think
But if you
everyone.
look
I think everyone agrees on
how
this one.
but how would I have reacted? So I put myself in the spot of Trump, and I'm like, chances are I would have been all over the place too. Why? Because what's happening right now in the US, what's happening in Canada, pisses me off. It hurts me because I know that this is not right. I know that the world that we're living in right now is wrong. So chances are I would have been all over the place, and I would have been easy to catch too because I would have been so passionate about it. Am
All
I
right.
saying that this is what's happened? Maybe, maybe not. But if you look at it from remove yourself from the situation, forget that it's Trump, forget that it's Kamala, put it on mute, and look at their behavior, it doesn't look good for Kamala Harris.
All right. Now, here's the difference between you and Trump. You're guided more by your virtues than your passions. All right. Trump has insulted women, has insulted a lot of people, and even though a lot of his insults were in response to what was said first by him, I'm not sure I want a leader that's triggered by every little word that somebody says. Someone that is the commander in chief of the armed forces, right? So there's a choice that you don't want, but at least, like you said, to your credit, that's his historical pattern. You see him coming a mile away, you get that. And with him, you have the political choice to take it or leave it. So now you got, my argument is you got the devil you know and the devil you don't. I don't know anything about this woman. When she declared to run for president, when she got nominated, her website didn't even have a platform. They didn't even have policies. To this moment, I still don't know if they have policies on there. She's had as many interviews as Donald Trump had assassination attempts. So I understand why you're choosing Trump, but it's all the same reasons why I would not choose Trump. And not choosing Trump, before anyone makes this a logical leap, so that means you trust Harris? No, I am not a registered independent, because just pointing out everybody, registered independent makes people think you're independent. No, registered independent means you're part of a party. And if you look at their platform, you might change your mind, okay? I'm registered under NPP, no party preference, which allows me to vote in the primaries for either party because I'm a taxpayer. And my tax money goes to their DNC and their RNC. I might vote for Jill Stein. I might write in a Nico Lagan, right? And before anyone says my vote is wasted, the whole notion that, where's my camera? The whole notion that I owe you my vote, you can kiss my ass, all right? You want my vote. Introduce policies that are going to change my life and my peers and my family and friends and even enemies. Change it in a significant way, right? That's how you get my vote. All right. And at least have someone that represents a pattern of doing those things. We don't know anything about this woman except she was a criminal prosecutor that didn't want to let people out of jail because the for-profit business would have suffered. Those are her words. I can't vote for this woman. I cannot vote for Trump. I cannot and will not vote for Trump. And that might be the candidate you're voting for, and I have friends who are close to me who are voting for Trump for all of the same reasons you are. But do you understand what I'm getting at?
100%. And but the only thing I would add is that you know the type of person that she is because she's been in the public eye for years. You can see the type of person that she is.
When Tulsi Gabbard, remember that political debate where she went after Biden, this is 2019, 2020.
Yep.
She went after Biden,
Yep.
Are you going to apologize for segregation? That little girl was me, wah. And then they finally gave Tulsi Gabbard a chance to speak, and Tulsi knocked her the out, dude. Just a one-punch KO, what we call God's hand. Remember we had that conversation, like I have that touch? That was crazy. And when Tulsi did that, that's when I started doing a background check on who she was as a prosecutor, who she was as a senator, which way she voted on whatever, because California actually has ballot initiatives. Thank God we can cut out the middleman and actually vote on the ballot initiatives. But she does have a lot of socially liberal things that I'm in favor. Right, I do think Medicare for all is a real thing, even though she's flip-flop on that. I am anti-fracking, even though she's flip-flopped on that. She's for it, now she's against it, now she's for it again. This is someone I just don't know. Now, me and you, we're the biggest flip-floppers because when we're aware of the facts, then we're like, no, I feel a different way about that. And I would trust your flip-flop because your flip-flop comes from an honest place as opposed to where the political win or social win or religious win will blow you. You know what I'm saying? I don't know this woman. It's the devil I know versus the devil I don't. And look, I like Jill Stein, but Jill Stein is someone that opposes everything but stands for nothing. You know what I'm saying? She's a weak candidate, and even though I think she's on the right side of history when it comes to anti-war, she's not on the right side of history when it comes to censorship. So the person that closely identify with my policies are RFK and her. But I'm not saying I might vote for the couch. And the most important thing before you go, because I'm not telling people how to vote, but voting for your city council person, voting for your state senator, voting for your U.S. senator, House, your reps, is always going to be significantly important because these are the people that fly under the radar that affects real policy. A president is never going to do anything in your life that's going to change you significantly.
One of my buddies says that all the time. If you're going to vote, vote locally.
Hmm.
Vote for your mayor, vote for your sheriff, vote for your governor. Those are the people that will change your life, not the federal level. They're not the one impacting. Although those are the people you hear the most about, obviously.
Right.
Those are not the people that will change. If you really want to do a change, make a change in your life, vote for your mayor. Go to your city council meetings. Go to your school board meetings. Know what they're teaching your kids. Know what the policies that they're passing on your local level. If you're not happy with it, run for mayor, run for city council, run for the office of your school board. Those are the places that people take for granted or don't even consider, but these are the places that will change your life. That being said, you know what they should put in place, and that applies as much for Canada as it does for the US, because unfortunately even in Canada it's a two, although we have multiple parties, it's still two
It's a
parties. It's always
duopoly.
between the liberal slash Democrats and conservatives slash Republican. But this is something I've been talking about for 10 years now, is they should put a new type of voting that is just that is for somebody, that is for a fake party, that is just I want to reform. None of the parties that you're representing on this ballot represents me. I'm not wasting my vote by not voting. I am taking the time to go vote to do my duty as a citizen, but I am not happy with the people that are presented to me. And I want you to know that something needs to change. And if that threshold hits, let's say 20%, because 20% is a massive amount of people. If 20% of the people are voting for something else because they don't feel represented, something needs to get done. But
Right.
this is but they will never do that because they don't want people to be doing their own research. They don't want people to be aware and to be a multiple topic voters. Because, like
Right.
we said earlier, right now you're voting, people are going to vote for Kamala Harris because they think that Trump is going to remove abortions from everywhere, and then something's going to happen on this side where they're not going to be able to get as many abortions as they want, and then on the other side it's probably going to be more of a gun issue, right? So, but at the end of the day, this is what we're looking at right now.
Yeah.
Instead of having multiple different topics that we like, oh, I'm going to vote for this guy because of this, or for her because of this, it's a bipartisan, it's a bi-party system, unfortunately, and we seem to be voting for the lesser of two evil.
Yeah, you know what the crazy thing is? Like when you look at the proxy war, I can't say the U word on YouTube, right? But they said the money that we spent on this, you got people from the right saying, "Oh, that could have ended homelessness," and me, I get so mad at them because if that money wasn't spent there, they would have spent it on something else. So they're full of too. You know what I'm saying? Let's take that money and use it for something good. Oh, but not that. So a lot of people are right on one issue and wrong on the other. So with that being said, you have a lot of policies that might sway you to vote. I have a bunch, but my two major ones, and I said this in the beginning of the podcast: free speech,
Yep.
anti-war. I can't vote for either one of these guys. Can't vote for either one of these people. Can't do it. Do you know why? Because they were
You,
when in your life was the person doing the censoring ever been the good guy? Right?
never.
Never. Almost never. If or we'll boldly say never. You know. So yeah. So I just want to make
And you
sure we
know
covered
what?
everything.
And for the Americans listening to this, without the freedom of speech, there's a good reason why your First Amendment is freedom of speech.
Hmm.
It is the most important right that you have, and it is not a government given right. This is a God given right. So even though that I think the Constitution is probably the best document that's ever been crafted in the history of politics, it is not given
It's
to you by the
quite
government. It
ingenious,
is a
isn't
God-given right.
it? Quite
It is
ingenious, isn't it?
100%.
Yeah.
And to me, you said what your two are. Mine is free speech, above and beyond everything else. Free speech and gun rights,
Well,
because there's
free
a good
speech is
reason
number
why
one.
they're one
Yeah.
and two. There's
Well,
a reason why
two
they're
is
number
there.
one
Well,
and
two is
number
there in
two.
case one goes to hell, right? Is that is
Exactly my point.
that's
This is
Nico's
why
point.
those are the two most important ones, because those are the biggest protection that you have against a tyrannical government. And if I look at what Kamala Harris has done and has said, she is against the First Amendment and she is against the Second Amendment as well.
Well, Hillary this morning said that people should be jailed for misinformation. You know, and
And
listen,
she came up.
it sounds
We're
noble.
talking about the woman that
Yeah.
she had her own servers running information that she provided to. Yeah, sure. Cool story. Cool story.
Yeah, I know. They all do it, man. I mean, and you know the crazy thing is, well, Hillary worse than others, but the crazy thing is when you shape it in a way that protecting like misinformation causes people to do physical violence or whatever, when you shape the argument like that, and if you're already committed to that party, and no matter what they say, right, they're going to be right anyway. Yep. If they shape that argument is weak, but it's strong because the person that you're voting for, the person that you did vote for, said it. So, and the issue I will always have with that, and you can finish this sentence for me. Who determines what's misinformation? Who gets to determine what's hate speech? What governing body or what group of unelected officials are gonna sit there and determine to us like we're children or what's misinformation? And that's crazy because again, that sounds like a conservative value. That is not a conservative value. That is an old school liberal value. Vietnam War people, Iraq War people, let's go. You know, liberals, be liberals for 2 seconds. So yeah, but with those being my two strongest things, I can't in good conscience vote for either one. And I was really on the RFK train because his first thing was free speech. And you called it a God-given right? And for the people who aren't Christians and for the people who say this is politics, God's got better things to do, you went in that department too. Because free speech in the classic sense of the word is to protect you from government persecution. I'm not talking about free speech where you tell your boss to f off. Oh, it's free speech. You can't fire me for free speech. No. We're not talking about that.
You can say it. Yeah. That doesn't mean there's no consequences.
It doesn't mean that free speech isn't a double-edged sword.
Yeah. Well, 100%. 100%. Right? And you don't get to say
free speech isn't a butter knife. It's a double-edged sword.
But you're an asshole, right? Yes. You don't get to say that, but there are consequences.
But this is where
there are consequences to free speech.
Look, Elon, I wouldn't go so far as to call him a hero, but the people that call him heroic, I get it because of that, because of the important 100%. Tenets. You're a government contractor. Most of your contract work is with the government, and at the same time, you're calling out the government for a series of emails. Thanks to Matt Taibbi, thanks to Schellenberger, who wasn't even into this stuff. Schellenberger voted for Biden, so it's not like, this goes against Democrats, so you have a MAGA, on your license plate. This, and this is crazy because that's what they call Matt Taibbi, and that's what they call Schellenberger. One's a classic Democrat, and Matt Taibbi has been mum's the word on his political affiliation, his philosophy, and a lot of people shunned him for this. My job is to bring the news, not be the news. And he's got snubbed by a lot of people about not speaking out against Gaza and speaking out or whatever. His job is to go ahead.
Bro, I'm gonna finish on this because I gotta go. But the thing is, and this again is the hypocrisy that comes from the woke side of the left, is if you're not vocal about something, that means you're for it. It's like silent violence.
Yes.
If you're not speaking out against something, that means you're either for it or you're weak. Yet journalism used to be about reporting the news, about speaking about what's going on, not giving your opinion about what's going on. Report what's going on for what it is. It did not matter which party was doing something wrong. If they did something wrong, your job as a journalist was to call them out.
If you don't
this does not exist anymore. Right. And not only does it not exist anymore, but the people that are trying to be journalists are causing silent violence for being journalists. It's insane.
If you don't know the political affiliation of the person telling the news, that means they're doing their job, right? I think 100%. A good journalist, I think of Matt Taibbi, right? Because his philosophy is do no harm. He does have political ideologies, and you know what I'm saying? Like he got there's a socialist network that really called him out about not speaking up enough about Gaza, and he did on one whatever and wanted to leave it at that because his fight for free speech did involve people that supported Israel. And then did involve the people that supported Palestine, because he thought the common denominator was bigger than this war, where we understand and acknowledge people are dying, but people are dying in Yemen, people are dying everywhere. And so his idea was do no harm, and my fight is here. And he got extremely gaslighted and snubbed, and I was part of a group that was like, oh, you need to shut up, you and stop making excuses for him. I'm like, he doesn't owe you that. He doesn't owe you his side of the story. His job is a journalist. And they're like, well, there are journalists who are activists, and I said, but
they're not journalists.
No, but
they're activists.
But also that was their choice. Because I don't live in that false dichotomy too either. I'm like, I don't live in this dichotomy. You're a journalist or you're an activist. You can be both, because the journalist is about telling the truth. But the more your activism leans towards something, the less you might report on both sides objectively and widen the lens of your reader or your viewer. So, Nico, I know you got to go, man. Where can people?
You know what you just said there? Let me finish on this.
No, you
This
finish.
is the reason why I will never call myself a journalist, that I will call myself a commentator.
Yep.
Because I have an opinion and I am politically driven. You know my opinion from the get-go. I will never call myself a journalist because I'm biased.
Yep.
I am biased, and I have no problem saying it.
Yep.
That makes me not a journalist. I cannot be a journalist knowing that.
Well,
right?
At least you'll have some friends. I don't have any friends. Right? You listen.
I'll be your friend.
Thank you. Just keep posting real shit and watch your friends list cleanse itself. How about that? What's your website? More people want to know what you've been up to. God, Nico's got some crazy cool posts, man. He's got clips, he's got podcasts. As far as your well-being, as far as the politics, as far as commentary, the man has the gift of gab. I would love to call a match with you someday, by the way. What's your website?
NicoLagan.com, and whatever the platform, you can find me at Real Nico Lagan.
All right, cool, man. All right, so guys, we're out of here. I'm gonna hit my music. Nico might love you. In fact, but me, I don't love any of you. In fact, I can't stand any of you. In fact, I'm out of here. All right. So for all of you at home, for all of you on your lunch line at Starbucks, for all of you getting eggs and bacon, for you carnivores, for you vegans, for my man with the 2-finger salute, right? I'm Jason DeBiss. Stay with me. We're gonna hit my music. We are out of here. Let's go. And I still did the wrong one.
Oh, well, it happens, bro.
Dude, I'm going to keep that in.
Yeah, sure.